So we're joined here with Darran Hay now, former Stevenage player, of course, and Hitchin Town manager as well. Also manager of Olsey previously. So got some questions for you, Darran. Been preparing these obviously over the last few days, and let's get on with it. So the first one, this one's from Russ, a friend of mine. What was the best moment, game, goal of your career, both for Stevenage and in general, if they're not the same?
I think generally it's probably when I made my debut. I suppose it was my professional debut at Cambridge United.
Yeah.
Over at the Fetch Field.
Uh-huh.
Swansea, yeah, Swansea away. And we were losing 2-0, 2-0 down with probably 25 minutes to go. And the manager, Gary Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
said, just go on and see what you can do. But we're losing 2-0, see what you can do. And literally as I got on, I was very, very nervous as I got on. Within the first touch of the ball, I was in the box. And I just done this turn. I just come naturally, done this turn. And I meant to take it away straight away. So we won ourselves a penalty. It was the first touch of the game.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the proudest moments. Even though it's a long way away from home and the family weren't there. It's an evening game, it's a midweek game.
Okay.
But we got a penalty and we scored it. We end up losing 2-1 in the end, but it was an immediate impact, and that was a very proud moment for myself. That was.
And then what about actually at Stevenage? Obviously, you scored on your debut against Scarborough. Was that one up there as well?
I would definitely say that because I remember playing against the Arsenal in the week on the midweek game against Thierry Henry and all the big boys were playing, and I got injured.
Yeah.
The week before, and I was with a rib injury, and it was a bloody painful thing for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
It was touch and go whether I was going to get a start. I managed to get the start, and even though I was, a bit patched up and I was in quite a lot of pain, I played through that and managed to get a goal. It was a draw in the end, 1-1, but I got a header, and it was one of those ones where you had to really sort of like twist your body to get in.
Yeah.
One of those, a lot of power in it. Can you redirect it? So
Mm-hmm.
that was my debut, and that was a goal, a very important goal for us as well. So
I remember that game really well, and I remember the Arsenal game, in fact, as well. The pre-season friendly, seeing Thierry Henry and all of those big name players down at Borough was something that you don't see very often.
exactly what happened. I think it was about 8 or 9 nil, but it was just because they were so far ahead of everyone in the Premier League, and like to come against us. But,
Yeah.
and it was, I'll never forget it, Alex Manning, he come out of his bony knees, he stuck him right in my ribs, back of my back, and I thought he'd shot. So yeah, it was.
That's right. I remember that because I think some of us went on the pitch after the game. I remember I did, and I went up and I actually spoke to Alex.
Yeah.
So it was, a bit surreal.
They come on the second half, but it's David Stevens started the game.
Yeah. And then obviously, that was with Stevenage. What was that? Who was that under? What manager was that under? Was that under Paul Fairclough or?
It was, yeah, another Paul. I enjoyed working under him. He's a methodical coach, manager, very understanding, really sort of good motivation skills. And, for me, I'm surprised he didn't end up in the league somewhere along the line, but I would play under him at some point.
Yeah. Would you say that he was the manager that you sort of learnt the most from? Obviously, because when you retired from playing, you did go on and manage a little bit yourself with Hitchin and Olsey as well. Did you say you learnt anything off of Paul?
I did. I learned a lot from Paul. I think his management skills, his man management skills are very good. I felt that he was one of those that he liked the psychology side of things as well. So I had quite a lot of chats with him about how to improve your mental feeling, your mental being. If you're not playing, how do you feel?
Yeah.
About his players, that's something I thought was quite important. Alongside other people, I thought Jeff Chappell's a good manager, man manager as well. I felt Gary Johnson, a Cambridge United, very, very professional, went on to manage national teams and stuff like that. So I've had good influences. Tommy Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this one was actually a question that come in from a guy called Paul. What made you join Stevenage in the first place, having played for Woking in a rival side?
Really what happened was at the end of my contract at Woking, the interest was shown by a couple of non-league clubs, and obviously Stevenage were interested. Paul Trencroft rang me up and said, you know, I want you to come across. And as I said, I had quite a good relationship with him as a manager I played against. And he was all told I'd like to work with. And obviously Stevenage being a local club as well, was, you know, was pretty much a no-brainer really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much a natural thing. I went in after some rivals. I think this second period of school life, and knew a lot of boys from Stevenage. Used to go out there quite a lot. A lot of players as well, you know, from Nigeria and people like that. All mates of mine as well. So, you know, there was natural progression, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously you mentioned St Mick's there as well. My uncle got in contact with me when I said about this, and he said that he knows your brother. He said your brother was in his year at St Mick's, so he wanted to say that he knew your brother, and just to see how he's getting on with you as well.
Yeah, all the boys are all okay, thank God. We're all still doing that, still relatively local. But as, like you said, a lot of us went to, you know, even though we lived in Letchworth, we get on the bus and go across to Stevenage, Roman Catholic school.
Yeah.
And and I enjoyed. I had some good years there. You know, I knew a lot of people from Stevenage, so a lot of mates from Stevenage anyway. My sister went to the St Angela school in Stevenage, so you know, it was a natural progression. It was my, if you like, it's my hometown really, if you like.
Yeah, so that's really good. And then when you were at Stevenage, who was your sort of best mate, or the kind of group of people that you would be mixing with quite a lot at training and things like that? Did you have a set sort of group of mates that you got on with more than others, or did you just get on with everyone?
I think I've got on with pretty much everyone. I think we had a good rapport. We had some good lads there. Bumpsy at the back there, good lift and people like that. We had Neil Eelman, and he was one of my closest mates. Neil Eelman is a striker, so we played quite a lot together. Smudger was obviously one of our boys as well. We had Tails in goal, you know, Trotty. We had some good boys there. As a team, we were quite close. But yeah, I had my, I suppose, Ilman and Tails and Smudger were the sort of ones I'd be spending most of my time around with, because they were local lads, you know. Some great times. You know, we still stay in touch with them. We're still in touch with them, you know. Now, you know, we'll not Zoom or anything like that, but we'll text each other and say hello and stuff like that. So we do keep up, and you know, I think it was Tails' 50th the other week. So
was it? Okay.
you know, yeah. So you know, we wished him a happy birthday and stuff like that. But you know, some really good lads there, mates for life. I think, at the way I look at it, you know.
And obviously I saw Smudge at the end of last season because he played in Ronnie's testimonial. Because obviously Ronnie just passed him at the end of last season before he moved on to Billericay. But obviously still coaching with the club anyway, Ron. And Smudge come and played in that. So obviously I saw Smudge play, and he still got it.
He still got it. Smudge was, you know, again, I was at another club that I used to play against Smudger, and he's still good mates of mine. He was a local lad as well, Hitching boy.
Yeah.
And I used to go to school with his brother, who's, you know, Carl was in my year at school, in my class as well. So we were close. So when I come up against him, it was always a difficult match, always. But playing with him, he was ahead of his time. He was someone else I felt that could have played in the Football League easily, and you know, not disgraced himself. You know, you'd have thought, you know, a bit more luck, and you know, an opportunity, you'd have gone into the, you know, maybe not the Premier League, but certainly the Championship.
When we played Newcastle, obviously, with the whole thing of Alan Shearer. He had Alan Shearer pretty much under control, and that was England's top striker at the time.
That's right. It just goes to show what he was capable of, and this is what I'm saying, as far as a little bit of luck and a little bit more, you know, someone fancying you. He could have gone very, very far in the game, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look here. Who was the best player that you played against for you know, throughout your career?
I suppose and I played against some of the Man United boys, Giggsy and stuff like that one at Cambridge. We had a game against them. I played some good boys who played against Burnley in the FA Cup at Cambridge as well.
Yeah.
But I suppose if again, Arsenal, the Arsenal lads, my hero was obviously Wrighty and Thierry Henry and people like that. I'm an Arsenal man, and I thought, they're the ones. I remember seeing Thierry giving Dancy 2 or 3 meters, and by the time he's caught up with the ball, he's 3 meters ahead of him, and you just thought, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
You remember that?
Was that Thierry? It was one of his first games, and I think he scored a hat trick or 4 goals or something in that game, and it was just unreal.
Unbelievable. So I think just playing against them and people like that. Players with, I suppose I can look at people like Jody Craddock. I felt he was an outstanding defender. It was a bit like Smudges, he was a Cambridge lad. Went on to Wolves and played for Wolves, made a lot of games for Wolves, Premier League as well for him in the end. Danny Granville, Micah Hyde, people like that, young lads at the time. You could see that they had a career in the game, and a lot of them went on. Micah went on to Watford.
Watford, he was playing for a number of years. Yeah,
exactly. So you could see they had the talent, and they just needed that that kick on. And people like that, Danny Granville, Chelsea, and stuff like that. You think, these are good lads, and they were all slightly younger than me, but they were all willing to listen, had technical ability, and did the right things. So they're the players that I would say that I look back and think, good player, John Filan, goalkeeper at Blackburn.
Yeah.
Clean hands, always, lived a good life, worked hard. And I thought, people like that were always going to make it, in the game.
Yeah, so there's some big names there. Obviously Thierry, as you said, and Ian Wright and Giggsy, and so obviously there's quite a few players that you've learned from there over the years as well. So out of the players that you've played with, was there anyone that you've kind of learned from out of the players that you played with?
I suppose I'll say it's got to be Walk. So I used to play with Clive Walker at Woking, and I felt that he was one of the players that really got me playing my game, because he would deliver the thing on a sixpence, and then it was down to me then to do the finishing touches. So working alongside him, I felt he made me better player, because he'd put the ball where I needed it to be.
Was he your strike partner for a while?
He was a strike partner for us for a while. I mean, Scotty Steele. I loved playing with Neil Illman. I felt we used to enjoy 1 and 2 touch passing around the box with him. But I've got to say, Clive was probably the one that stands out most for me, which I think he had an influence on me, because he'd say, just get across your man, or stick at the far post, Daisy. That was your area. Make sure you're there, because I'm going to clear that last defender, and you get your ass there. Stuff like that, and if you didn't be there, if you weren't there, you got it, and if you ended up there, then you had a good chance. So, listen to what he says, and you learn from him. So yeah, he's got to be one of the people And there was a lad called Danny O'Shea, who was to play at Cambridge with me as well. He was a really good influence on me as well. I felt that he was a defender, and he used to play for Arsenal years ago, but he was one of those that felt. He's one of those that would talk to you and give you advice, and I felt that his advice and he was quite, because I was young and I was quite naive and I didn't know where I needed to be and stuff, and he'd worked quite well with me, and I felt he was quite a good influence on me, a positive influence. Mickey Heathcote, a lad called Mickey Heathcote, was there as well. So some good lads that would talk to you and bring your game on, if you like, and influence you in a positive way. Mickey was always one of those that, got to keep working hard. You keep working hard. You're a big lad. Just got to keep working hard, and you get rewards once you do that. And I felt that was quite important to me, because at the time I was new to the game and at the professional level, and I needed someone who's in the game to talk to me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you said you were Woking, and then you moved to Stevenage. And what was it like going back and playing against Woking? I think you scored a couple against Woking as well while you were at Stevenage.
yeah, I did. Even going back there, it was always one of those hard ones, because you're affiliated to a club. You see it now in the Premier League, when someone scores against their old club, they don't go celebrating anything like that. They just acknowledge that they're scored, and that's it, sort of thing. And I think that's pretty much what I did. But I do remember getting it from some of the working boys, and And then when I finally put one in, it was like, you know, I'm not going to rub it in your noses or anything
No,
like that. I'll just accept it for what it is. It's a goal, and I'm pleased to score, but I'm not going to antagonise anyone with it, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it's difficult because you're getting in a different dressing room. You know, you're walking in. You know, your GPS takes you straight to the home dressing room, and you had to divert. You know, so it's a bit of a weird one.
What was it like playing and obviously, you know, having a second job at the same time, because it was semi-professional at that time as well, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, my work were very, very good with me like that. They supported me. They'd allow you sort of like, you know, if you need to leave early for an away game, they'd allow you to leave.
Yeah.
They'd allow you to sort of like make sure that, you know, promote them if you can, do stuff in the community. They were really important, you know, that you've done stuff in the community. And so that's when I really started doing a bit more coaching for young people, kids in the community. And that's really where I started working on my badges. So they were very, very good. But it's hard because you know, you are part-time. It is a lot of hours. It is a lot of training. It's difficult. You're not getting home until 1:30 in the morning, sometimes a midweek game, and then you're having to get up in the morning for work. So yeah. But you know, I'd recommend it if you love the game. You're not quite at that level that can get you into professional ranks, and it's definitely the next best thing for me.
So obviously you said about your coaching there. That was where were you doing your coaching? Did you do that at like locally? Did you do anything locally with the community, like Hitchin and colleges and stuff as well, or was it more sort of nationally?
No, it's nationally. So I was doing a little bit with my work and stuff like that. So I was doing it for my day-to-day job.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I was over at Olsey, and and I've started doing my badges anyway. I got to level 3, and the guy at Olsey, John Taylor, was leaving, so he asked me if I, you know, wouldn't mind stepping in just to see the season out. And that was my first tip into it, because as a player, I still want to play, but I wanted to also, you know, do the best by the club. So I accepted the role for the rest of the season, and we done very, very well that rest of that season. We've not survived, but we were comfortable in the mid-table. Started the next season, we were flying, and come sort of like November, we were sort of like 3 points off the top, and just beat the team that was top of the league. So we were flying. So I was really, really pleased how we were getting on. And from there, I got a call from Hitchin to go across.
That's right. That's
when I went to Hitchin. I mean, there's an argument that said, should you stayed? Should you? But it was a challenge. Hitchin's my local team. It's a higher level. It's more of a challenge. There's a bigger budget, slightly bigger budget there. You know, so it's one of those opportunities to step into a high level, more challenging situation. Play with better players potentially and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they were affiliated with Stevenage, weren't they, as well at the time? So did you get loan boys from Stevenage come down or try and
had a couple of lads?
They
had a couple of lads. I used some, I had quite a lot of loan players over at Hitchin as well, so I called on some favours from people.
Yeah.
Not all over the country, but not just local clubs, to come and help me, and they sent some boys down, some really good lads down as well. We managed to survive. We survived the first season by the skin of our teeth. I think it was 2 games to go. We needed the draw, and we got the draw, so we were fine. We didn't have to panic on the last day. So that was a nice little achievement for us at the end of the day. But it was one of those where you just got away with it, if you like. It was very, very difficult. Players were leaving the club. We was in the financial difficulties and everything else. So it was about trying to just stay in the league, really, and we managed to do that.
And obviously, you're talking about survival there with Hitchin. What do you feel about Stevenage and the situation that they're in at the moment, with obviously, being bottom of the table, and then the whole thing with Macclesfield, not too sure what's going to be happening there. And obviously the season's now been cancelled officially because of the pandemic we're in right now. So how do you feel on that? Do you think, the fact Stevenage have been bottom all season is kind of enough reason for them to be sent down, or do you think there's still more in it yet?
I just think it's unfortunate. It's unprecedented times. It's something that was never ever happened before. and it's just sod's law. We're in that position right near the bottom of the league where it really affects us. If we were 6 points up the table, we'd be saying, "Oh God, let's get this table, let's get it over and done with." I'm glad it's finished, but it's impacting us, and we think, "Oh God, now we're going to have to start again." And we all know how difficult it is. Once you go down, it's not easy to come back. So I hope if there is any way we can fight it, that we can at least challenge this situation, then I'll be pleased for them. But it seems like they've made their minds up. It seems like it's going to be a difficult situation for Stevenage, which is not fair. But it's not fair. But I just think it's the only way that they're not going to. I find it hard to believe that they're going to change their views and their minds on it at this stage. But I think if we can get the backing, support, and everything else, we're not in a worse place to come back. We're not in a bad place. I know it's going to be hard, but we can come back from this, And sometimes taking a step back and two steps forward, you can see a club in a better situation in the long run.
That's true. And obviously, there's a lot of players that are out of contracts at the end of this season as well. So in the next sort of couple of weeks, Scott Cuthbert, the captain's just signed a new contract today. But there's a lot of other players that are going to be leaving and moving on out of the current squad. So it's going to be a very much fresh start.
Yeah, and that's what I said. If you're stepping back, one step back, although it's going to be difficult, we're organised. I know the gaffer's going to be working hard this summer to sort of like bolster his squad.
Yeah.
But if we can push forward again and come back stronger, I think that might not be a bad thing in a way, because we were in the bottom of the league for reasons. You're there for the reasons you're there. It doesn't. The table doesn't lie.
And I don't know how closely you followed it this season, but they've only had 3 wins and they've had 4 managers, so that says something. That says everything. Really.
It's telling us there was definitely issues there. So let's shake it all down. Let's start again. And I think if we do end up going down and having to fight again, I think you as a club, it might not be the worst thing that could happen to us. I know it might seem like it now, but I think it could be a good thing. Come back with a good run, good strong squad. Let's go again, and maybe do what we did before. Go again and go again. Why not?
Bounce up through 2 leagues. Yeah. And obviously the thing with that is the foundation and the community. That's the main issue. Actually, they'll lose their funding. That's more the issue than actually the playing side.
That's right. I mean, it's going to take a lot from the community then to really sort of like support the club. I mean, this club is crying out for league football and being comfortable in that league. There's nothing. We want to be there. We don't want to be every season teetering on the edge and worrying about it. Why not? Why can't we looking at promotion and maybe just miss out that way, and then maybe the following season and just miss out again? At least we're out of what I'd call out of the crap.
That was last season though. Last season under Dino, I think we finished about a point off the playoffs, and then
that's right.
Just the start of the season, there was so much upheaval and loads of players leaving out of contract, and lots of changes and stuff. I think they brought in about 15 new players at the start of the season. And when you finish a point outside the playoffs, you don't need to make that much change.
It needs tweaking. It needs a fine tweak. It needs, and this is what I also believe, and I think this is what some of the managers in the past have done really well. Is getting buy-in from the team, from the squad. If you get a full buy-in from the squad, you've got a chance, and that for me is one of the biggest, most difficult things you've got as a manager. You need your buy-in, and what I mean by that is, I might be on the bench this week, but I know, this gaffer will give me a chance, and I'm prepared to work hard and prove to it that type of thing, and not the backbiting. I can't be asked now. I'm not in the squad. I'm not this. I'm not that. So the buy-in from all the players is key, I believe. I think people that are going to be in and around the team have got to be, and the squad have got to be, and the whole club, have got to be on pulling in the same direction. I liken a little bit to what Arsenal are going through right now. There's changes. There need to be changes, but you need buy-in from the tea lady, and I think Arteta has done that really well. He's gone round and made himself available to everyone in the club, and and the same with Stevenage. We need to do the same. We need to know who the guys are on the door. We need to know who the who the tea ladies is, and all the players have to have that buy-in. If you're going to be successful, I'm sorry, but everyone needs to have that. Right, we're going to give it 2 seasons where I'm not going to moan. I'm just going to go for it and give it my best all. If we can, there isn't a reason why we can't bounce back. And as I said, do a double bounce. Why not?
That's why it worked so well under Graham Wesley as well. Because obviously you got them promoted out of the conference and then straight out of League Two as well through the playoffs. And you could see that everyone was looking for him, whether it was the tea lady, whether it was the stewards, the safety officer,
100%, 100%. Mike, you've just hit the nail right on the head, mate. Because that's exactly how I'd want it. In any club that I was involved in, and that level, I'd like to make sure that was something I got through. And if it meant, like you said, losing a couple of people at the end of the season because their contracts are up, they're good players, but maybe they're not buying into your philosophy, then fair enough. You have to cut ties, but that for me is a massive, massive part, especially in lower leagues. I mean, they're doing it at the top levels, and the Man Cities and the Arsenals they're talking about Arteta going around and talking to the physios and the tea ladies and the kit men and all these people, the laundry and you don't do that unless you care, and that shows that you care. And that for me is where a lot of clubs have gone wrong in the past, and they lose that. It's all about the playing staff. Well, actually, it's not, because to make the playing staff happy, the tea's coming on time, the dinners are made, the food's all coming in, and the kit's all clean, and everything. The whole lot has to happen. And I know it's a difficult job for the person at the top, but for me, that's where it stems.
Yeah, 100%. So let's have a look what we've got going on. Yeah, so we'll kind of touch on this anyway. Obviously, away from Stevenage, you are an avid Arsenal supporter, as you've mentioned on here as well. How do you feel about the Premier League returning in just a couple of days' time? Obviously, being behind closed doors and without any supporters there. What's your thoughts on that?
For me, I always said this, and when this coronavirus was really sort of like really bad early doors, I felt there's no point in bringing the season back. Let's cancel it. Let's give Liverpool the title. Let's protect lives and everything like they were saying they would do, what we should do. And I felt I was one of those. Then let's just cancel the season. I mean, give them the title. They're that far ahead. It's not like there's a point or two in it. They're 20 points or so ahead. Let them have it and celebrate the season with them and say good luck to you. And we'll see you all again in September. And that gives everyone plenty of time to organise, sign players on. Fact of the matter is we are starting in a couple of days' time, and I'm pleased to see it back in a way. But my argument is, again, are we going to be looking at another pandemic, another spike due to the fact that when Liverpool win the league, are we going to have 40, 50, 60, 80,000 celebrating their triumph? I think when we was under lockdown, you could have said, right, you could have the title. People will still celebrate, but they wouldn't celebrate like they are now, because people are now allowed out and stuff like that. My best mate's got his daughter up in, my brother's got a daughter up, my niece is up in Liverpool uni, and she's telling me they're all celebrating, parties all planned for the week next week and the week after. They've all got the parties planned, and I'm dreading what it's gonna be like. That said, we've had all these movement things going on. We've had all the people protesting and that. So is it going to be any different? Maybe a few more beers and a bit more alcohol around, but it's going to be a bit of a scary time, I think, over the next sort of like 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks. What's going to happen? See what happens.
And then what about sort of testing of players as well? I think they're going to test players every couple of days. I think like twice a week they're going to test players. Do you think that's enough? And also, do you think that they'll be able to control it? Obviously, there's certain players that have said they don't want to play for their club as well to get a bigger move, like Lyle Taylor, for example, at Charlton has said he doesn't want to play anymore this season, in the hope that he can get a Premier League move maybe when his contract's up in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I get that. I can understand how people might feel. And, I looked at Deeney and I thought, fair play to him, mate. He's got a little one who's not very well, he's got health issues, and the last thing you want to do is bring things back. I mean, it's not at the expense of the personal expense. I think players get a lot of money, and so should they be tested twice a week when we need more testing done in the communities and to get so it's a bit of a weird one, and it's for me. I don't think it's right. I think it should be cancelled. All that test could have been done. I don't know how many they've done now, but they could have done them in in the community, and it would have impacted better on the community. Yeah. So it's a bit of a shame that they've done it, but they're doing it, and it's coming out of the Premier League money, which they've got plenty of. So, for me, 2 times a week, potentially 2 times a week could keep it down, and we can get the season finished. We're going to be in that position now, 2 times a week. Anyone comes up, they're going to be under lockdown, but it's going to be. My biggest concern is, they say social distancing. I don't know about you. When I played, I spit on the floor. I don't. I'm sorry.
Obviously, if you score a goal, you want to run to your teammate and you want to congratulate your teammate on scoring and everything like that. You kind of want to embrace them.
Yeah, you do, and you forget yourself. I mean, I suppose that it's going to be unlikely that any of these footballers are going to get many footballers that are going to be missing out on this. Getting any coronavirus, but they're supposed to be the safest now in the world, I suppose. So many tests and stuff like that. But there will be 1 or 2 that will get it, and I hope hope we're not talking about this in a few weeks' time and there's been a death on the back of this and one of these players, and we're saying, well, why didn't we cancel it? And there's a lot of us that are saying it should have been, and just forget the season. Football is not as important as life at the end of the day.
100%, yeah.
But we'll see.
So let's have a look. How difficult was it managing your time? Oh, I've done that one. That's all right. How did you get into football in the first place?
I'm one of 6 boys, and all my brothers were all sort of like pretty much all played football, knocking about in the back garden, a decent sized back garden, a bit of a courtyard type thing, and then grass up the top. So it was my mum was in particular. She was like, you don't get yourself to the park. Go and get yourself to the park. Get out of my back garden. You're killing my grass. That type of thing. So it was a case of going out in the local parks and playing with your brothers, and then it was others on the street. And I'm talking about in the 70s. I was only young, but these guys are sort of like other players, local boys. Oh, why don't you join your team? We've got a local Hallmead United. Oh yeah, we called ourselves Hallmead United. So we had the odd game against another road or something like that. Yeah, and then it took off from there. I mean, going into school, I was a midfielder at school.
Okay.
Central midfielder. I don't know why they put me there, but that was probably half decent size and half decent feet. So I suppose that's where I was.
Yeah.
And then I eventually found myself up top when I was 11. And then from then, I've not ever been anywhere else. It's always been up top.
Just all the way through.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's really good.
Good years.
And then
Stevenage teams. I mean, there was.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh God. Some good Long Meadows and places like that, and Pin Green Juniors. So I was in Stevenage.
Yeah.
For my football.
Did you play for the school as well when you were in juniors? And did you play for the school teams?
Yes. School team. My St Michael's school team. I wasn't a fan of rugby, and I was told if I weren't playing rugby, I wouldn't play football. So that I did suffer a couple of seasons that way. But ultimately, Pin Green Juniors was my 12, 13, 14-year-old. That was my team. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Loved it.
That's really good. Obviously, that's a good way of getting into football as well. Obviously, you start at a young age and you just build your strength up, build yourself up, and just work on everything. And when you get to into your 20s, your mid-20s in your prime, then you're set then. So yeah.
When you've got 6 brothers and they're all playing football and they're beating the arse out of you, you've got to stand up for yourself. and being the youngest of the lot as well, so that made it even harder, So that for me was a big part. Playing with brothers in the back garden, local fields, playing with some, at the age of sort of like 10, and playing with boys that are 16, 17-year-olds, and you learn quick. Move the ball quickly, get your touches in, and I enjoyed it. Best times. times. Yeah. I can't hear you, buddy. I can't hear you, Mike. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, mate?
I can hear you all right. I don't know. I think Mike's clicked a wrong button or something.
I can't hear. I can hear you. Hi, Brad. All right, mate. I can. I can't see you, Brad, anymore. But I could,
No, I turned my camera off. Turn it back on.
You turned your camera off.
I'm
Okay.
here. Hello.
Oh, I can see you. Oh, Mike's done.
Phone died. Do I want to take over for a minute?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if anybody who's watching has got any questions, so we're live on Facebook and we're live on Twitter right now. So if you've got any questions, then get them in, and I will send them over to get them asked, because I've not really prepared anything, because I wasn't expecting to have to jump in, to be honest. But
That's okay. That's okay. There's no problem.
I mean, you said before about your you playing with your brothers.
Yes.
Would your brothers see, like, seeing how successful you've been, would they have had a slight bit of jealousy, or was it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think we're all within our own levels. We're all quite a decent bunch of players. I mean, Steve and older brother Steve, he was a striker as well. He had trials at sort of like Luton Town. He was a decent player and local football as well. So he played, like, Saturday and Sunday football, which is well known for in and around the Hitchin leagues and the Sunday leagues, and and Saturday leagues. He'd done very well, Stotfold and places like that. So he was well known. Brother Barry, he played a lot of Sunday football, and he was well known for his goalkeeping skills and stuff like that. Played at the back as well. So he's, but I don't know about jealousy. I think what it was, I think that as a family, they were sort of like pretty much behind me. They were,
Support for each other.
Yeah, they'd come to the games. Steve would go to a lot of games. Barry and other members of my family, mum and dad, would come to games. Some of the distances they travelled. I'm thinking very, very pleased that they'd come. Not as far as Wales and stuff like that, but certainly Midlands and stuff like that. They'd come to games and enjoy it. I'd leave them tickets, and they'd get themselves in. So all over
there.
Yeah, very, very supportive. Good families. Ties.
I suppose that's what family's all about, though, isn't it? So it's got to be there for one another. I mean,
Barry had trials for. I think he's having trials for. Who was it? Millwall. I think Millwall at some time, sort of like very early ages as well. So there's some decent players and recognised locally, but no one actually went on to make it in the proper game, really.
Just trying to have a look for some comments with questions, just to see if anybody's got any.
I'd leave them tickets, and they'd get themselves in. So
all over there. Then.
Yeah, very, very supportive. But good families. Ties.
I suppose that's
You've got a few more of these coming up in a few weeks, haven't you? Over the next few weeks.
I think Mike's arranged a few. I was meant to actually be here for the technical side of it all, to be honest. So
that's all right. I've got one here. Let's have a look, because I've got some of the questions that he's going to ask. So there's some decent players and recognised locally. This is away from Stevenage. Let's have a look.
She's saying sorry, Dad. Oh, you're still on record.
So I'm just looking through the comments that are on here at the moment. I've got quite a few people watching.
Oh, brilliant!
I'll say hello to we've got Giggsy, we've got Neil. Hello to Kaza, Annie. They're all on Facebook.
Hi guys, hiya.
Twitter. Hello to at Mr. D Keegan.
Brilliant.
Hello to the Wellwyn Guna. Just seeing if there's if you've got any questions that you want answered, put them into the comments, Hopefully, Mike should be back very shortly, so he can carry on with the questions that he had.
Yeah, that's no problem. It says about as well question. It says about where's my biggest achievement.
Yeah.
In my time, I'll go into that at Stevenage. I suppose it was, as I said, making my debut at Stevenage was my biggest achievement. And we've got to bear in mind, Stevenage is a local club to me. It's a club that I've obviously held dear, quite dear to my heart. Good friend of mine was one of the all-time top scorers there, Martin Gittins. I'm not sure if you know Martin, but Martin is a good friend of mine. I still work with Martin, knew him anyway, but he was yeah, that's no problem. God bless him. He was well, I suppose I would say he's one of my heroes, if you like. I'm over Martin on the Sunday league, Sunday football sort of thing. But when he started with Stevenage and he started to make his name at Stevenage, I followed him as a striker, and very, very good, proficient striker. So one of my, I suppose, sporting heroes, if you like, from local football was Martin Gittins. And I've got to say, I did try, in a way, a lot of my game was around attacking the ball, similar to what Martin would do, holding the ball up, being strong and physical. So when I did sign for him, I thought, that would be something to try and emulate, if you like. I knew Martin personally anyway, so it was nice to go.
I suppose Stevenage is probably because you find the lower down the leagues, clubs seem to be the more kind of support, if you like, they get from the local community. Like I come from Exeter area, and our club is very much fan owned.
Yes, yeah, and rightly so. I mean, what you find there as well is what I was saying to Mike earlier. It's about the care. How much do you care about your club, and how much do you care about your community? And one of the things for me was having that closeness with someone like Martin, and knowing that once he's a bit older than me, but once I went in there as a striker, I wanted to do similar to what he did when he was there. When I was playing Sunday football, and he was playing Sunday football, he'd score a couple of goals. I'd like to see how he's getting on, and I dare say I'd like to see how I was getting on if I'd scored for my team. So that was always a challenge for me, and someone I looked up to quite a lot.
Yeah,
he's the all-time. I think he's the all-time Stevenage top scorer. I think he'd be up there on stats anyway, somewhere along the line.
So I was just reading through the comments on Facebook. There's a question that's been put in here. So if you do have any questions, again, put them into the comments sections, and I will ask them over. Neil has asked, "Who was your best strike partner?"
Probably at Stevenage, it'd be Neil. The guy called Neil Illman. Neil Illman. I really enjoyed playing with Neil. He's
funny how that was the one who asked the question as well.
Was it Neil Illman? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be him. I might have known it would be. He was an unbelievable striker. He's all left foot. He was all left foot, and he was all left foot, and he had superb vision. So as I said earlier on, I loved playing with him because you could bounce off each other quite well, and we worked hard together, and we had fun together, and I
suppose when you've got that working relationship, it adds a lot more fun to the game as well.
It does. I mean, the thing is, that's right. And we both had some decent stats playing together as well. I'd be interested to hear what they were, but our stats together are decent. No one could really knock them. So Neil Illman was probably my favourite when I was at Stevenage Depot.
Yeah.
I might have known he'd come on there anyway.
Who would you say is the sports icon that probably influenced you the most? Like growing up, who did you look up to?
I suppose, again, I'd say Wrighty. Wrighty was the one for me growing up from early teens. I would definitely say, because he come out of non-league football and went into league football, and against all odds, because he could have gone either way. He could have gone into a life of crime, or he could have made it like he did. And I think, I had so much respect for him because he was one of those that, against all odds, if you like, a lot of his friends went into the wrong way, went down the wrong path, but he chose a different path. And, even though he got rejected a number of times from different clubs, he found a path which took him to where he wanted to be. And not only that, he went to Arsenal, obviously Palace and stuff like that. So for me, that was one I looked up to most because it's closest. I could appreciate where he'd been, what he'd done. Got into the league against all odds, at an older age as well. I think he was probably 22, 23 or something like that. When I went into the league, I was 22, so I was quite an older lad as well. I wasn't a 15, 16-year-old doing the YTE or anything like that. I went in a little bit older. So
Yeah.
I think that I could appreciate where he'd come from a little bit more and how hard he had to work to stay there. So yeah, Ian Wright, I think.
So I've just been looking for some questions.
Mhm.
Who would you say is the most underrated and overrated player that you've ever played with?
Oh, good question. That's a very good one. Underrated would probably be Smudger. I've got to say, Smudger
Yeah.
he was definitely, for me, he was a league probably, championship at least player. Overrated is it's difficult to say. There's some people you play with and you think, how have you made a living out of it? But at some point, they've got to have done something. You can't hide all your life. So that's difficult to say. Probably Neil Leilman as well is another one who's made a living out of it. But no, it's difficult to say who's overrated.
He did
at
say
some
that
point.
he loves you. So
Leilman, you owe me one.
pint at the pub when this is all over.
Yeah, just ask him if he's got any buds. Overrated. That's a good one, though. God, dear.
I've got you stuck on that one, haven't I?
Yeah, you have as well. Overrated is difficult. It's just so many players you think, my God, how did you do it? How did you make it? But they do, and they've had to at some point prove themselves. So I wouldn't want to say.
So if someone was to come up to you and they were starting out football, what would you say is the best way to get into it?
I've had a lot of people approach me and ask me. I've got my little ones. He's 4 years old and he's 5 years old and he loves football and stuff. It's all well and good. I just say you've got to enjoy it. I mean, if you're trying to live your dreams through your son or your daughter, I think that's not the best thing to do. Let them enjoy it and don't put pressure on them, because at the end of the day, football is a career which can go very, very quickly. It can take you to the top, but equally it can eat you up inside. What I mean by that is a lot of clubs release young people. They've been training since the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And when they get to 16, they're released, and then they feel so let down by the clubs, and that happens quite a lot. So for me, my advice would be, if your son or your daughter is out there and they're enjoying football, just let them enjoy it. If it means playing with their mates, down the park, and if it means them, playing curbsies on the side of a road before the car comes, and then waiting till the car's gone and starting again, like we all did, just let them enjoy it. Just let them enjoy their sport. I mean, if they're good enough and they're enjoying the sport and they're starting to excel in it, then fair enough. Then you can encourage them and support them to do what they want to do. But please don't force them in it just because you love football. Let them find their way. Do I agree? If it was I've got a daughter, but if I had a son, would I force him into it? No. Would I encourage him into sport? Yes, I would encourage him into sport. Now, I did say sport. I didn't say football.
I mean, sport's proven.
Sport in general.
Any kind of physical exercise is proven to be a benefit for mental health. So it's
exactly. So whatever it was, if it was snooker, if it was pool, if it was swimming or diving, whatever it was, that's what I'd encourage my daughter, my family to do. But I wouldn't force them into anything. And ultimately, they have to enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, it's going to become a chore. And we all know what happens when it comes to it, when we have to do chores.
Yeah. So if you weren't as successful as what you were at football, so let's say you didn't get into football whatsoever, what kind of career path do you think you would have gone down?
I think I like what I do now. I like what I did for the college, and I still work at the college, Hitchins College, Stevenage College, Northants College. I like putting back. I like to work with people that actually who probably in a lot of ways were similar to myself, who had people at a younger age, when they were younger, telling them that they couldn't achieve or wouldn't achieve, or you're not going to make anything of yourself.
Yeah.
So I like to support maybe young people, maybe 17, 18-year-olds, to realise their dreams and realise their potential. That is what I enjoy doing. I don't see myself in an office sitting there every single day. I like to interact with young people, and I say young people, all people really, but young people in particular.
Yeah.
To make them realise that actually you can do something. You can do this. A lot of my young people now have gone off to university and are doing really well in life, and I come back and they say, when they see me on Facebook, I'll get a thumbs up and a hi and all that. And I think, that is what I love doing. That's what I enjoy doing. And a lot of these guys were, for want of a better word, were put on the scrap people when they left school. They didn't have all the GCSEs, which maybe a lot of their peers might have got. They were probably told that they wouldn't achieve much in life. You're going to end up in jail. You're going to you're going to have kids by the time you're 17, 18. You're going to have 2 kids. And actually, no, you're a young girl now, and you're a young woman now. Has gone off to university, done your time there, and holding down a successful job. That is what I love. That's what I love seeing and hearing. So, yeah, to answer your question, it's putting back to the young ones, the future generations, that they can achieve, and the only biggest obstacle is mostly themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm back now. I had a few little issues there. My phone decided to die on me halfway through, so apologies about that.
That's okay. All right. I've been kept warm.
Yeah, it's Brad been looking after you. That's all right then.
He's done well.
Am I right to just ask one more question that I found on Facebook quickly?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
So this one is actually from Mike's better half. Is there any moment in your career that you'd like to go back to and maybe redo or relive?
Oh, it's a good one. Very good one. Redo. I suppose relive would be, some of the trophy finals that you've played in. That would be probably.
In the trophy final, I think. Did you score 2 in the finals?
Yeah, 1-3 and scored the winner in 2. That would probably be my go back to. Change. I suppose change would be. I suppose when I first on trial at Cambridge, it was an opportunity for you to really stamp your authority. And I think you just, because you're new to the game, you don't know. And I think you learn and you learn. It took me a little while to learn, but I think part of my fitness at the first few weeks was critical, and I was nowhere near fit enough. So I thought if I could go back, I'd love to have been fitter when I went on trial, so that I stood out above. Because I think technically and physically, I could match the players, but for fitness, it was an excuse which was used, and rightly so, that you won't start a game until we get you to the fitness levels that we need you at, and that will take you 5 or 6 weeks, maybe. Yeah, so that I think if I'd have gone in at a fitter level, then I would love to have been. I think I would have been. I think I'd have been in a better position. It's just because you're coming from a non-league, you're coming from a local non-league side. You're not talking a non-league side at Woking or Stevenage back in the day. You're talking at Biggleswade Town. So you're talking right down the levels, level step 6 and step 7s like that. You're going from that level right up to League One, and that's a long way. So if your fitness level, even though I was fit, I wasn't as fit as I needed to be at that level. I got there, and it took me 4 or 5 weeks to get to the level that they were happy with, that I could go and get involved in matches, and I did. But I'd love to have gone in at a level with maybe you can go straight in. Let's throw him in, because I made impacts when I did come on. There was a question I know you wrote about what was the best goal you ever scored. It was on. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. It was on against Hull City, and that was Cambridge United, and that was there's a volley, half volley from about 33, 34 yards out.
Okay. One of the ones where not even like a poacher's goal, just one like a proper good technique and one that you took really well on the volley. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them, and I just couldn't. And I'll never forget. It's New Year's Day, Hull City at home, and it was a goal kick come out. Our goal kick, sorry. I flicked it on. Mother striker held it up and just rolled it back into my path, and I just hit it from about 35, and it was still rising. That was an impact, and you had that impact when you come on or when you played.
Yeah.
If you was fitter, that would have been, oh my God, this player. And I think, because I know there was other clubs looking and interested, but it was obviously a worry about his fitness levels, where we need him to be and stuff like that. So I think that might have held me back a little bit, but early, especially initially, not so much later on, but initially. So answers that question, it'd definitely be fitness levels early on, very early on. Cheers for that, Brad.
That's all right.
Yeah, so that's probably mostly it, really, to be honest. Let's have a look.
There is one more if you haven't got any more there. Mike.
Is there anything you miss about football as a whole? Like obviously, playing, coaching, managing. Anything that you sort of miss?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
An element that I do miss quite a bit, I suppose, is the dressing room. It's the dressing room, the boys in the dressing room, the laugh that you have with your teammates. I suppose, and the banter in and around the dressing room. I think that's one of the things you do miss most. The training, the day to day or week to week or whatever it is, training and being ready for match days and getting prepped for match days. I suppose I miss that. As far as coaching or managing the team, I think the prep. You don't miss all the hassle you get, but I think the prep. I think that's the bit I used to love and enjoy most. And if ever I got back into it again, it's an area that I'd like to really pursue, the prep for games. So watching teams, analysing the teams, and coming back and having strategies to beat them play against them. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the training. I enjoyed taking sessions. I enjoyed leading sessions. I enjoyed watching some of the sessions going on. And I suppose in the end of the day, what if I had my time back again on that? I think I would have made sure I got more buy-in from every single player that I was playing for me. And it's a conversation. It's not an honest conversation with people, and it does mean, as I said earlier on in our interview, if it means you lose a couple, then you lose a couple. But I think that's being honest. And where I see each player, I'm not saying you can't change your mind. I'm saying where I see you right now. That's you. I see you on the fringes. I see you on the bench for me, mate. And being honest to people rather than having to just like pacify people,
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer, to be honest, as well. And you can see in the successful managers that they do an awful lot of preparation before they actually go into a game as well. And that really works. You can see the analysis and everything that they've done.
Yes.
And you can see that within the game. You can see sort of different moves, and you can kind of just see it paying off in the actual gameplay as well.
It's a bigger part of the game than it's ever been. I think when I was managing, I used to have my dear friend Brooksy. Me and myself and Brooksy would take it in turns. One of us would go out and watch the opposition, and the other one would take the training or take the match. So we won't always be there together on the match day. We'd prepare really well, and I think at Olsey in particular that went really well. We played some of the best football that I've played. So that teams have played under me. Due to the fact that we knew we had a better understanding of what they were about, what their strengths and weaknesses were, what set pieces they did, and we took the time to do that. I mean, it's not easy for many clubs to do that, non-league clubs to do that, but this is what we did, and we managed to find a way. And we went travelling to London to watch a team on a Tuesday, and we played them on the Saturday. My team were better prepared for what was coming. So. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Right. Really prepared of how you're gonna compete, how you're gonna beat them. You would have seen their lineup, so you'll know pretty much the players that they've got playing who will play that next game as well.
Yeah.
There's another question from Facebook.
Oh yeah.
After a high adrenaline match or workout, What was your go-to food craving or food guilty pleasure?
Oh, definitely. I was after a hard game. It's most likely going to be a Thai meal.
Yeah.
Thai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Myself and the missus used to go. We used to love a Thai in Hitchin, so we'd go to a Thai meal after the game. Especially, don't get me wrong. If we lost, I'd be going straight home. I wouldn't be going out. And that's again, that's another thing. To be fair, Mike, I've got to say, mate, that's another thing. Rarely would you see me out if we lost. I'd be at home and I'd be, it'd go through my mind, and I'm the worst. Yeah, and I can't understand people that can go and put it up to the back of their mind, and that Saturday night is fun and joyful. I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can enjoy it if we had a win.
Yeah.
No one's stopping me when we had a win. No one.
No.
And
Fair enough.
Eelman and all my mates and all that will tell you that I was what I was like after a win, even a draw, but not a defeat. I just can't bring myself to go out and have that fun and be that fun and joy that I normally am once we've had a defeat. So I take it personally.
Would
Managing
you say that
and
that's
playing.
like a thing of needing some self-reflection, or?
I do. I couldn't sleep. I'd go to bed at night, whatever time in the morning. I'd go to bed, and it'd play in my mind. Why did I
Just
miss
look at
that?
like
How
what you
did
could
I?
have done better.
Yep. And I think that, and again, that's talking about what you change and what you do. It'd be something I'd speak to my players about more often as well, and have that one-to-one conversation about, why did you think you missed that? What would you do next time? How do you think? And brings us back to what you said earlier on, Mike, about Cluffy. He was the guy that introduced me to visualization, and he said to me, Daisy, why don't you take a time and have a little walk up the pitch before the game starts and have a little think about how you're going to score today. And I said, what, Gaffer? I said, what, Gaffer? He said, no, take your time. And from that point onward, and I walked every single game. I had a routine. I'd walk up to both goals, 20 yards, 30 yards out. I'm going to smash this. No one's listening to me. No one can hear me. No one can. You're just watching me. I'm still in my tracksuit. I'm walking to the goal, and I'm at an angle. I'm going to smash this across the keeper. I'm going to chip this one in, and eventually I'd walk in and I'd go right up to the net, shake the net, and I'd walk all the way back to the other end. And when I broke the halfway line, someone slipped me through. I'm one-on-one with the keeper. I've got all this time. As I got nearer to the goal, I'm 30 yards out. He's come out. I'm going to chip him. And it'd go all the way through, and I'd go and shake the net at the other end in my routine, and then I'd come back to the centre of the goal, centre of the pitch. And I knew then, should something happen in the game, what my natural instincts were going to be, because I've already gone through my routine, what I'm going to do. And I'll tell you what, he was spot on. And this is why I said I respected the man so much. He gave me that confidence to realise this is what you need to make sure you do. No natural. You're a natural, instinctive player. And it worked.
You can see what a kind of that he was. You can see how good he was in terms of, even not just Stephen, but Barnett, is it England C team?
Yeah,
when he was,
England.
He worked his way up. And whoever was playing for him, and whatever it was, you could see that they're, the kind of players that just work for him.
Yeah, he did. He made us do that, or made me do that, and I got to say, after he left, and I've still done it, and I've done it all the way through to the end of my career, if you like, visualising how I was going to score a goal in any, no one would know. I might have my headphones on and just walk past the boys, and I'd have my program in my hand, but in my mind, I'm thinking, right, here we go. I'm going to slide this one, Thierry Henry style. I'm going to smash this one across the keeper. I'm going to chip in. I'm going to header this. And when I got right close to the goal, 6-8 yards out, it's a header. How am I going to header this? This is going to be a side foot. And I just go through all the little ways to finish, and then just visualising how I'm going to finish the game.
Yeah. And what you were saying before about, when you've won or when you've drawn, you're a lot more likely to be out socialising and enjoying yourself. I noticed that quite a lot. We had Dave when Chris was down there, and he had pub as well. It's very much to be mixing with the fans after the win or to draw or whatever. When we'd lost the game, he'd just want to be on his own.
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, some people can take it, and if that's your get up, then good luck to you, mate. Some people can take it and handle it, take it on the chin and that. I'm one of those that took it personally, especially if I had a chance I didn't put away or I could have done better. Then it'll sit on my mind. And I'd lose that come Monday, but for 2 days that would be on my mind, and I need to put it right come Tuesday's game or training or whatever. And I certainly wouldn't be out enjoying myself on a defeat. Most of the time, you're gonna end up seeing a pretty downtrodden guy, probably gone home, might have stopped in the bar and had a couple of drinks, but certainly won't be out in the town. No way.
No, it's all about reflection and just about.
It's personal pride. It's in Stevenage, it's my local town. As I said, I'm a Hitchin boy. I'm living in Hitchin. How can I go out on the bars and in the town and enjoying yourself with your mates after defeat? You're representing the town. You've got to be seen as, professional, if you like. So, okay, you might see me in a bar and have a couple of drinks, but you're not going to see me out there really smashing and enjoying myself. What you will do though, is if you see me on after a win and I've scored a couple of goals, sorry mate, it might be the other way around. You might see someone who's a disgrace. He's a disgrace, but justified and earned.
Has his phone died again, or?
Yeah, his phone's gone again, I think.
Oh.
I think his phone's gone again. That's all right. His phone's gone again.
Should have more for coming on. Just trying to find some more questions.
Yeah.
Just a comment saying that Mike never does actually charge his phone fully anyway. So
he's on one of those, is he? Yeah.
What team would you say is your biggest kind of? Which team would you say you came out the happiest that you defeated? So you've gone and played a match. Which one would you say is that you were the most?
I suppose it's going to have to be. Millwall. Yeah. I was at Woking at the time. We played them in the FA Cup, and no word of a lie. There's going to be two actually. There's going to be got some racist abuse by a lot of the young lads, young people, young ones, and this is a sad bit about it. It was kids.
Is that fans or people at the club?
Yeah, the fans, Millwall fans and supporters, and that was one of the. I was warming up. I was coming off the bench that game, and it was a FA Cup game. We beat them 1-0, and I never forget it because someone put a tweet up the other day, and it had our captain at the time, and they had their captain, and their captain was a black guy called Bobby Bowery, really good player. And he was the captain of Millwall at the time. And I said to him, Bobby, how do you put up with this? How do you put up with this? Because, you're a black guy and, they're not abusing you, but they're abusing me. They're abusing such and such on the team. 2 or 3 of us were letting have it. But in particular, because I was warming up, I could hear it more and more. And I felt for him because I said, mate, I couldn't play for a club like this. I just couldn't do it. You're going to have people in the club, I suppose, that are going to be, the supporters. You're going to have good and bad in there all the time. But these were so vocal, and it was a non-league side versus a League One side in an FA Cup game. And to be fair, we actually hammered them, beat them 1-0 in the end, though. But we played some really, really good stuff. And at Stevenage, it's the same thing. I had a very similar thing over at Stevenage when. I was playing against Doncaster, and I've got to say Donny, because they're the only 2 places I can honestly say that I've got racially abused. I can definitely put my finger on. I could hear what I was saying. Again, I was on the side, coming on, and this was at Stevenage now, and again I looked at it and I thought, these are kids. These are 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds. These are not
Yeah.
I want to restart the computer. We've lost the picture.